Hey guys, this is the turkey I shot today, and I'm just going to kind of show you how to do your own fan mount. I've always done it myself, and it's easy. All you need is like a piece of cardboard, some T-pins or staples, and some salt. Show me. We'll get it done. So first I'm going to show you how to take the beard off. The beard is really easy. So you can come up closer. So you're just going to grab it right here at the base. And grab the skin and just kind of peel it away. And that beard will just pop right off. Maybe. Just like that. And it just peels off. You want to leave a little bit of skin on the back of that. And we'll just put a little bit of salt on that and let it dry out. And there's your turkey beard. So we got all the meat out, which you can watch in another video of how to do that. And I'm going to show you how to do the fan, just kind of a fan mount. My buddy just gave me the idea. He found a picture on Google of one that uses the feet, the fan, the skull, and the beard, and a couple wing feathers. So what I did with these, kind of gross, but I just chopped them off with some pipe cutters and right below the joint. And I'll show you what to do with those later. But right now I'll show you how to get the fan off without completely destroying it. So your fan, you want some of these feathers down here too. I'm gonna have to clean it. Looks like I got blood on some of them. So turn them over. Probably take what you want. So we're gonna go right here just to be safe. Kind of part it. So I'm giving more than enough. Give yourself room to spare.
What happened to those?
You said you lose a couple, or they just get matted down? Just matted down, maybe be cleaned. I'm gonna have to move that up. So just part it down here. You just don't want to cut too much off, because if you cut too much off, then there's no going back. And just kind of cut down where you think it's good. You want to get through the skin right here. So here you go. You're gonna hit a big bone. There's got a big backbone that runs up the back. I just go straight down with them just like that. And if you feel there's a spot where it all moves, that's where you're trying to get to. But you don't want to take more feathers than you have to. So try to get underneath it, and then we'll just kind of skin it back, and then we'll doll it up when we get there. I'm just pushing the skin back and then cutting a little bit, pushing back, cutting a little bit, and then just feel where you're at. Just find, once you get out of the backbone, you cut it off. So just keep skinning that back. I think I'm past the bone, so I'm gonna. So once you got it skinned back to where you're past all the bone, just start cutting down. And we're going to try to cut it off. Basically, you can feel some meat up under here where it moves. And you want to leave that meat on because that's what's going to hold it together. So you're going to leave some meat on there. So don't feel like you got to take all the meat off. And then just start cutting across. So you're actually, I think I'll probably take some of those feathers off. You can see how much meat I still have on there. And you're going to leave it. I mean, you can cut a little bit off, trim it up a little bit, but you're going to leave a lot of meat and just salt it and let it dry for quite some time. And I'll show you how to do that. I'll show you how to pin it up on a board. But trim it up a little bit. I mean, you don't need much behind the big feathers because everything behind the big feathers is going to be hid anyways. So you don't really need much of that. But just trim it up where you see fit. But don't be afraid to leave a little bit either. Probably as far as I'm going to go behind. In the front, I like your full fan, and then I like to leave this your second row, and then at least a handful of these. So we can take some of those off. You just want to be careful because once you cut them off, they're gone. I feel like I'm talking to myself more than anybody though. Probably do it like that, and then anything we don't want in the future, we can just kind of pluck it off after it's dry. But that's what you want. We're going to rinse these feathers off. Really don't want to get it too wet, but I do want to rinse those off. They got blood on them. And then I'll show you how to pin it up. And you're either going to want a staple gun or a bunch of T-pin and a piece of cardboard or a piece of wood. But that's your fan. Hey guys, so as you saw, I got quite a bit of blood on the fan, and so I actually took it and I rinsed it off in the sink and just kind of used the sprayer nozzle in the sink and sprayed it off. It's not perfectly dry yet, but I've been using the blow dryer and drying it off, and they actually turn out pretty good. And don't be afraid to spray them off, they're fine. Just try to dry them out or let them dry, and then I'll show you. We'll just kind of comb them back into place a little bit, but they seem to do okay. My little sister shot one a couple years ago and he rolled into a pond or a little stream, and I was worried that he was going to be ruined, but after we let him dry out, he turned out pretty good. And so from that, I kind of learned that you can rinse the fan off if you need to. And so don't be afraid to rinse it off. But I mean, it's not perfect right now, and we'll perfect it after it dries. But you just kind of want it like that, and you're gonna lay it flat, face down, and try to just make sure all the feathers that you want. So start high and pull it back, just so you're not folding any feathers over. And I'm just using just a little piece of pine. You don't really need much. Basically all you need to do is get the bottom few in the fan pinned down. So I'm using a staple gun, and I'll show you what it looks like once I'm done. But you're just basically straddling those big feathers with it. And I try to go straight across because I like a flat bottom in my fan mount. So you can line it up with the bottom of your board. Try to not get a staple in the fan, but if you do, they pull out, and super glue actually does a better job than you think. Let me show you what I'm doing now. So those are my staples. I'm just trying to straddle the fan, just the bottom feather of the fan. So that'll kind of show you what I'm doing. And I'm going to do the same thing to probably the next 3 on each side. Just try to get them in the board, and I'll show you what it looks like after that. As you can see, I got a staple there for the bottom feather, that for the second, that for the third, and then over here we got the same thing, bottom 3. And I ran out of staples, so I'll show you what we do if we run out of staples. You want to come hold this? And we're just going to do the tops of the feathers because I really like the bottom ones to stay as flat as possible. So I'm just going to hug it with a nail, just to keep it down and flat. I'll do the same thing with the other side.
It's like steaming.
It's just dirt. I'll do the same thing with at least the one above it. Good.
Yep.
So I'm just going to do the same thing on the next feather up. Just pull it down a little bit. Try to make it what you think looks straight for the feather. And just nail it in. Do the same thing with this side. But you don't want a big gap here. So make sure you're not pulling it too far. Need more nails. You can do the next one up, but we're not going as far because I'm just using a small piece of wood. So we're going to come back here. There you go. That's what you do to kind of keep it straight. And then we'll take some salt. And just make sure to get as much salt on it as you can. So, let me get it back in the light. Take the salt and just cover that thing in salt. Salt's going to help pull all the moisture out. And it's also going to keep the bugs off of it, which will keep it from rotting. So salt's cheap. Make sure to convert good, or else you might get a rotten fan. And just make a pile on there and let it sit. So you're just going to kind of have something like that. And just let it sit for probably 2 weeks. So with the feet, just make sure you salt the ends where you cut them. I don't know how well my lighting is, but make sure you salt the ends where you cut them. And then we're going to clamp them so that they actually sit up like this so the salt can stay on them. And then that way the salt actually keeps the bugs off of them, which will keep them from rotting and give them time to dry. And so we'll just clamp them in a vise for a couple days at least, and then just kind of let them dehydrate like that. So with the beard, after you pull it off, like I showed you, just make sure you salt this end. And like I've said before, this is just kind of keep the bugs off and just kind of help dehydrate it. But the beard's not a huge deal because there's really not much meat in there or anything. But just get it salted well and let it sit somewhere to dry with your fan. Hey guys, thanks for watching my video on how to prepare your turkey for a fan mount. I'll show you what we ended up doing with it. So that's our finished product. Ended up doing the skull on a little platform. The feet, the beard. I just drilled a hole in here and just glued the beard in there. Same with the feet and the feathers. Just drill a hole and just glue them in there. And the fan I just attached to the back of the plaque using staples. But that's it. Thanks for watching, and if you haven't yet, please subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Bye.